these books, when you read through them, there's just so much content to absorb. And one of the problems that I see as a trainer is the ability of students not being able to retain the information they need to either pass a test or to transfer job knowledge, skills, and abilities from the instructor partially to the student. There's a technique that I use, and that technique is find the learning technique that best applies to you and use it as much as you can. So many times the 4 techniques that I have seen is audio learning, there's visual learning, there's hands-on learning, and there's something that I call the justification method. Let's discuss all 4. In the audio method, learners are able to learn just by hearing. Perhaps there's the audio portion of a YouTube video, maybe they're on the road and they're listening to it. They're understanding, they're comprehending, and they're able to retain that information. When I was a student, well, I'm always a student, but in a formal education program, I'm sitting in class and I'm one of those that are able to learn just by listening. Not even by doing, but just by listening. There's many of you that can learn that way. Maybe there's a radio station program that you're listening to and it's educational, you might be able to learn that way. If you learn that way, you can also, while you're driving in your car, if you have a passenger, have that passenger read you passages from a book, maybe a chapter from a book. And that might also help you remember to retain information that you need to pass exam or maybe pass on the course. Second method is the visual learning method. By watching perhaps a social media video or a YouTube video or video just like this, and the instructor showing you a specific procedure. By observing the instructor or maybe other students or other professionals, you're able to retain information. Same thing with a book. You pick up one of the books that you need to study for a test or something. You're reading through all the paragraphs, you're reading through all the letters, and it's helping you. And it's helping you retain information just by looking. So the time was 1998, and one of my partners on the security force, we were mall security, had a badge that looked just like this, and it looked extremely cool. It says Patrolman, Private Security. On the bottom it says CA for California. And I wanted one just like that. So I paid him $100 and he got me a badge from the uniform store, and I was wearing it on my hip and I thought it was cool. It looked like the LAPD badge. Okay. This badge is illegal. You cannot use it on duty. You can have it, but you can't use it on duty as a uniformed private security officer. In fact, Business Professions Code 7582.26 subsection D tells us that no licensee or officer, director, partner, manager, or employee of a licensee shall use a title or wear a uniform or use an insignia or use an identification card or make any statement with intent to give an impression that he or she is connected in any way with the federal government, a state government, or any political subdivision of a state government. That's a mouthful of information, isn't it? Lots of information to retain. Those of you who are visual learners, just pick up the badge, look on the internet, look to see where these badges are being sold, and see if they comply. So you know what the law is. It cannot give anyone the appearance that you are affiliated with any state government. See right here? This is the Great Seal of the state of California. Okay? That might give others the impression that you are a state employee. Now, how do I know this? Well, one time my badge design got rejected from the state and they cited that exact section. Okay. Now, the Business Professions Code tells us that it must say the words private security. So right here should be private security. The name of the private patrol operator, which should go right here. And see where it says CA for California? That should be an ID number. You can make any number that you want. This is a visualization method of learning, you guys. By me showing you, you're able to retain information. And you could do the same thing. If you have a patch, you can do the same thing. So here's a patch that I got. We'll throw away one. Okay. And let me read you 7582.26. Now this is letter F. It says no private patrol licensee, officer, director, partner, manager, or employee of a private patrol licensee shall use or wear a badge except while engaged in a guard or patrol work and while wearing distinctive uniform. And it goes on to say that a private patrol licensee or officer, director, partner, manager, or employee wearing a distinctive uniform shall wear a patch. Now listen here, you guys. Shall wear a patch on each shoulder that reads private security, and that includes the name of the private patrol operator company, which right here, Dignity Health, by which the person is employed or for which the person is a representative, and a badge or cloth patch on the upper left breast of the uniform. Okay? So this is within violation of the law. I'm sorry, it's within the bounds of law. Okay? And this badge is not. And the code also tells us that the badge has to be worn on the left portion of the uniform. The left breast portion. So just imagine you go out there, maybe the grocery store, look at all the security officers out there and see where their badge placement is. Make sure that they have their shoulder patches on, make sure it's the correct wording, and their badge is properly placed on the left breast portion of uniform. You guys, this is going to help you so much by remembering what goes where, just in case they ask you on the private patrol operator exam. Okay. There's another method called the justification method. And in that method, by being able to justify or explain the rationale for a certain law or even a procedure, you're able to remember that law a lot better than any other law. For example, Labor Code 201 tells us that when you terminate an employee, immediately you have to pay this person. Under the justification method, the reason why you have to pay them right away is because you know when they're going to lose their job. You know when they're going to get fired. The employee may not know. And for that reason, you have to have the paycheck available immediately. As soon as you tell them you're fired, they have to be paid. Okay? And they also may not have made the necessary arrangements to prepare for a job loss. But you have the advance notice, you know, and you have to pay them immediately. So finally, here we are at the last method, which is the hands-on learning approach. Some of you learn by just going out in the field or even exploring different learning activities in your home office. You learn by hands-on, by putting your hands on certain learning activities. Perhaps you don't know what goes on the I-9 form, which is definitely a testable subject on the private patrol operator exam. So what you do is you actually go to your printer, you print out an actual I-9 form, and that's the employment eligibility form, and you look at the criteria on what is needed to establish identity in the United States. pick up the paper, you go through that list. Pick up the folder and put what is required in that folder based on the law, based on common practices. And these are things that you're going to learn during this course. And by getting engaged in these particular learning activities, you're going to retain information so much better. So I have before me Form I-9. That's the Employment Eligibility Verification Form. And using the visual method of learning, I'm going to go through this form, see what's in each box. And it tells me right here that the Department of Homeland Security, specifically the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services branch, are the ones who require that form. Department of Homeland Security, large agency, and they have these small branches under them. This one is the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services agency that requires this verification form. Using the hands-on learning approach, and I just talked about a visual technique, but now the hands-on learning approach. I'm gonna see what's on the form and I'm gonna put it in a folder, okay? It's a blank, it's an empty folder. There's nothing in it at all, see? And when my employee is done with this form, I'm gonna put it in here and write, okay? I'm gonna write I-9. And the I-9 form, you have to keep for 3 years. Okay? Hands-on learning, okay? I-9 form, 3 years. So perhaps I'm an employer and I need to remember how many years to retain this file. 3 years. I-9 form, and it's a separate file in here. See, there's no other files in here, and the reason for that is if you put the job application, and I'm going back to a justification method. You put the job application with this form and you end up not promoting somebody, they might have a feasible argument that you did not promote them because of their nationality or their citizenship. By keeping this file all by itself makes things easier for you. It makes the complaint that it was because of their color of skin or national origin that you did not hire them go away. Using the justification method of learning, you will soon understand, or perhaps remember better, that the reason you don't put the I-9 form with your employee's job application or performance eval is so that the employee will not have much of a feasible argument that you did not choose this person for the promotion because of where they were born or nationality. That's why you put the I-9 form all by itself, okay? And then you write here, I-9, hold for 3 years. Helps you remember. We discuss 4 methods that most of the people out there learn. There's auditory method, there's the visual method, there's a hands-on approach, and there's also the justification method. Not every method is going to work for you, but in this course, we are going to touch on all of the methods with the small exception of the hands-on approach. Now, it's really difficult to present a hands-on approach on an online course, but I'm going to try my best to get that learning experience to you guys. Just make sure that you guys follow the instructions of the video. If I suggest that you go out and do something, please, I really mean it. Try it out. Try out these different methods. So in this course, we'll touch on all 4.